Hey everyone, and welcome back to Fix and Cruise. Ever been driving and heard those unsettling clunks, rattles, or bangs coming from your car's suspension? It's not just annoying, it can be a sign of a serious issue with your vehicle's safety and handling. Today, we're diving deep into the world of car suspension noises. We've got a fantastic video that's going to break down the top 5 possible causes of these suspension woes, from worn control arm bushings to broken coil springs. After we watch it, I'll be back to give you my full analysis and critical take on what was covered, so stick around. Take a watch.
Are you hearing weird noises coming from your suspension when driving? Maybe it clunks when going over bumps or rattles when turning. In this video, I'll break down the top 5 possible causes of suspension noise, so keep watching. The first cause is failing control arm bushings or ball joints. If the bushings or ball joints become loose, that will create excessive play, leading to clunking sounds coming from your suspension. Here's an example of a noise you could hear when driving over uneven roads. The second cause is a worn sway bar link. Over time, the rubber boot can rip, letting in moisture and dirt. This leads to internal corrosion and wear, which causes creaking or clunky noises when going over bumps. The third cause is bad tie rods. Over time, the inner or outer tie rod ends can wear out and develop play. When that happens, you'll often hear a clunking sound when turning your steering wheel. The fourth cause is bad struts or shocks. Worn out struts and shocks can make banging sounds when driving over bumps. They're designed to absorb the force of uneven roads, but if they're faulty, they can't dampen the suspension properly. This causes excessive bouncing, which can lead to metal parts slamming into each other and creating banging noises. Now, if you hear clunking sounds when turning the steering wheel left or right, it could be an indication of loose strut mounts. The fifth cause is a broken coil spring. Springs are under constant tension and can crack from age, rust, or hitting a nasty pothole. When they break, the pieces rub against each other or move out of place. That's when you'll hear loud pops or clunks, especially during turns or going over uneven roads. If you want to figure out what's actually failing, do a bounce test at each corner. You can also jack up the car and grab each wheel and wiggle it side to side or up and down. If something's loose, you'll feel it. Let me know in the comments what kind of noise your car's making. Someone else might be dealing with the same issue and your comment could help them out.
Welcome back. That video provided an excellent overview of some of the most common culprits behind those dreaded suspension noises. Let's break down the key takeaways from each of the 5 points it covered. First up, control arm bushings and ball joints. The video correctly highlighted that when these components become loose or worn, they create excessive play. This play translates directly into those classic clunking sounds, especially noticeable when you're driving over bumps or uneven surfaces. The rubber or metal components within these parts are crucial for keeping everything tight and precise. Next, we looked at the sway bar link. This often overlooked component plays a vital role in reducing body roll, particularly during turns. The video explained that when the rubber boot on a sway bar link rips, it allows moisture and dirt to enter, leading to internal corrosion and wear. This damage manifests as creaking or clunking noises, especially when the suspension is articulating over bumps or dips. The third cause discussed was bad tie rods. These are critical for steering, and as the video explained, both inner and outer tie rod ends can wear out and develop play over time. This looseness results in a distinct clunking sound, particularly when you're turning your steering wheel left or right. It's a clear indicator of a steering system component nearing its end of life. Moving on, we covered struts and shocks. As the video showed, these are the primary components responsible for dampening suspension movement. When they become worn or faulty, they lose their ability to absorb the force from uneven roads. This leads to excessive bouncing and, consequently, metal parts banging into each other, creating those loud banging noises. The video also touched on loose strut mounts, which can cause clunking when turning. a subtle but important distinction. Finally, the video addressed broken coil springs. Springs are under constant tension, and they can break due to age, rust, or severe impacts, like hitting a pothole. When a coil spring breaks, the separated pieces can rub against each other or shift out of place, causing loud pops or clunks. These sounds are often most noticeable during turns or when encountering rough road conditions. The diagnostic tips at the end, the bounce test and wiggling the wheel, are great starting points for identifying looseness in your suspension components, allowing you to narrow down the potential issues. Now, let's dive into my critical take on this information and add a few extra layers of insight for you. While the video did an excellent job of covering the top 5 causes, it's crucial to understand the broader implications of these issues. Firstly, the importance of early diagnosis cannot be overstated. Suspension components are interconnected. A small amount of play in one part, like a ball joint, can accelerate wear on other components, like tie rods or wheel bearings. Ignoring these initial noises can lead to a cascade of failures, turning a relatively simple and inexpensive repair into a much more complex and costly one. More importantly, worn suspension components severely compromise your vehicle's handling, braking, and overall safety. A clunking noise isn't just an annoyance. It's a warning sign that your car might not react predictably in an emergency situation. Secondly, while the video focused on the major components, it's worth noting that sometimes suspension noises can be caused by less obvious issues. For example, loose bolts on suspension components, worn subframe bushings, or even a sagging exhaust system that's hitting other parts of the undercarriage can mimic suspension sounds. It's why a thorough inspection by a qualified mechanic is always recommended if you're unsure after your initial checks. Also, consider your driving environment and habits. Frequently driving on rough roads, hitting potholes, or carrying heavy loads can significantly accelerate the wear and tear on all these suspension components. If you live in an area with harsh winters and salted roads, rust can be a major factor, as mentioned with the sway bar links, leading to premature failure of metal parts and rubber boots. Finally, when it comes to DIY versus professional repair, the bounce test and wiggle test are fantastic for preliminary checks. They can help you identify obvious play. However, diagnosing specific worn parts often requires getting the vehicle safely off the ground, having specialized tools for leverage, and the experience to differentiate between various types of play. Ball joints and tie rods, for instance, have very specific movement patterns when they're failing. If you're not comfortable or experienced, always err on the side of caution and take your car to a trusted mechanic. They can pinpoint the exact issue and ensure proper, safe repair. So, there you have it. A deep dive into the common causes of suspension noises. Don't let those clunks and rattles go unchecked. Your safety and the longevity of your vehicle depend on a healthy suspension system. If this video helped you understand your car's noises a little better, please hit that like button, subscribe to Fix and Cruise for more automotive insights, and share it with a friend who might be hearing some weird sounds from their ride. And just like the video suggested, let me know in the comments below what kind of noises your car is making. You might just help someone else with a similar issue. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you on the next one. Drive safe.